Hello everyone and welcome to the second part of my Barcelona 2019 and 20 season preview. Today I've decided to extend it just a little bit and include other La Liga teams. I think that this way would make it so that it becomes a much more overarching video, because if we talk only about Barcelona, there isn't too much context to my message. So we're gonna be doing a La Liga preview today, my predictions, let's see if you agree with them, and I'm gonna break it down as follows. We're gonna be first talking about the top 6 teams, or what I'm gonna call the upper echelon. This is going to be the champion, the Champions League places and all of that, as well as the Europa League teams. Then we're gonna be moving on to the mid-table, and we are gonna be finishing with the relegation battle, which I think could be even spicier than the actual top 6 race. And well, finally, I've left on your screen different timestamps so you can just easily fly to each section of the video as you please. It may be a long one, so if you don't want to watch entirely through every single bit of it, you can just watch what you want. And well, let's start off then with the upper echelon of La Liga this time around. And yeah, I think it's no secret, I'm gonna say Barcelona. I do see Barcelona winning this La Liga, but I want to provide you with a little bit more context in the way that we are going to do it. I want to go back to the time where Messi just said in the Joan Gamper Trophy how they must be challenging for the 3 competitions by the end of this, by May. Yeah, by May. I guess that's by May. I think that it's perfectly fine. But I do not want Barcelona to stick to the same things, the same protocols that they were following last season. I want them to differ a bit. With this, I'm not saying that, of course, I may, turn back winning La Liga. I'm not saying that. I still think that La Liga is a must no matter what we do. But what I'm trying to say is that we should be looking for an overall more stable state of form and a better way to approach this. Because before we were kind of like using a forgiving rotation system where we just had like kind of a very stable mentality in the way that Barcelona just knew which games they wanted to go all out in and which games they didn't. It was kind of like balancing the fitness and sharpness of all of the different players, when in reality every single game should be a must win. I think that Barcelona, once again, like I mentioned in the part 1 of this preview of the Champions League, it kind of tainted their perspective of the way they should approach this season, because they were just focusing on that trophy. They were just focusing on the Champions League, and everything after that got affected because of it. Last year we started strong. We started really strong to try and seal the deal by April, and that's perfectly fine. It mostly worked. It actually did. But this time around, I also of course gotta say, start strong, do all of that, but do not have that mentality of keeping retaining the players just to keep them fit. We all wanted that for the past 2 seasons, and it hasn't worked. Just take it one step at a time. Try to win every single game, and when those dates come, do those rotations. But you don't have to think about it kind of like 2 months before. When they come, do them, but not like at the start of the year already thinking about the Champions League. The Champions League is it's about like 5 months ahead, 6 months ahead to get to the knockout stages. So think about that when it happens. Do not think about it right now. Taking a look now at our opposition, Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid, I think that Atletico Madrid is going to finish second because they've made signings with a plan. Real Madrid has also strengthened, and at the time I said that I was really liking the way that they were going, but they just kind of like stopped. Real Madrid needed a transfer window like Atletico Madrid, and they just stopped halfway through. I don't know why they started to pursue other targets like Paul Pogba, like Christian Eriksen, that never really worked out, but they just stopped. And that's going to hurt them at the long run, because they're going to be finishing third, because the problems that they had before are not being addressed. Like the goals, I still don't know where they're going to be coming from. The midfield still looks lazy and sluggish. Like they're not going to be competing against the top, and they look even weaker now. They let Kovacic go to Chelsea, Ceballos to go to Arsenal, and then you take a look at Isco and James Rodriguez. Isco, a player that Zidane literally hated last season, and James Rodriguez, a player that had problems with Zidane, and you add to that Gareth Bale. The entire squad looks like a hazard right now, no pun intended. Looks like chaos, and that's something which is not gonna be good for them, and it looks like another bad season for Real Madrid it's really coming. And it's maybe a little bit strong to say from a Barcelona fan, but literally this can be disaster. I don't see Hazard reaching the levels he was at Chelsea, because you need to have that kind of like strong support of every single area of the club. Hazard was the boy. He was like the face of the club, and now I don't know if he's going to be. They haven't gotten that signing yet that Real Madrid really thrive on. Real Madrid really like having that sort of player, that player that they can all back up, and just that player in itself become a little bit selfish and take the spotlight and do good. I don't know how Real Madrid are going to bounce back, because last year we were saying Real Madrid without Cristiano Ronaldo doesn't matter, because Real Madrid always they look shit and they come back and they win. But they didn't. And I have no arguments in favor of them doing different this year. So I don't really know Real Madrid. They got a lot of problems on the core that they need to fix. But just take a look at Atletico Madrid, man. Atletico Madrid did a very good job. They sold the players that they sold, like Rodri, like Griezmann, let go of Diego Godin, because they knew that they had a plan in place. They knew which players to bring, exactly which players to bring. They sold Griezmann, they brought Joao Felix. They brought Joao Felix even before Griezmann left. They were that confident on this guy, and look at him. He's playing really, really good in preseason. Okay, it's preseason, but still, like 5 goals and 3 assists, something crazy like that. That's really good for Atletico, and I'm really happy for them, because it will add a lot of competition to us. I want to see a La Liga where it's much more closer. I want to be one day in behind, the next day up front. This time around, it's everything up front, and sometimes it's easy on our guys. Like Barcelona, most stages can just say, okay, we're going to win this time around, but yeah, we have to value. It become, like Messi said in the Joan Gamper Trophy again, we have to value that La Liga that we won, because it's so easy. Like Barcelona make it look so easy that there's no competition. So Atletico Madrid becoming better can add some sort of spiciness to it, and then people will start to value La Liga again. So hopefully that happens. In the case of signings, I really like what they did. Like Kieran Trippier as well. This is a right back, which I don't rate that much, but under Simeone, he can reach another level, and he certainly can. For the left back, Renan Lodi, I haven't seen too much of the guy, but still, like, if they bought him, it's because of a reason. Mario Hermoso, what a signing that guy is. That's an hermoso signing, really. Qué hermosa es esa transferencia, de verdad. And Felipe, good overall defender from Porto, brings a little bit of experience there, a little bit of backup. Fine. Marcos Llorente, 40 million, perhaps not the best, but good business. You bring in, what's the other guy? Oh my god, I forgot his name. I had to look it up, but it was Héctor Herrera. Héctor Herrera is literally a Simeone signing. So it tells you that they already knew what to bring in. They knew what they needed to do, and that's cool and all. So I really like that. I really enjoy Atletico Madrid this year. I really fancy them. And if they start doing good, I think it will be a wake-up call for Barcelona, because in all honesty, Barcelona has even more pressure than them to win La Liga. Atletico Madrid, I don't think have any. I think they have like 40% perhaps from their fans, but Barcelona have the 100%. So by having a good side, Atletico Madrid surprising Barcelona, I think it will tell our players to wake up, and that's good in every single situation. And that's why one of the key reasons I think Barcelona will win La Liga this year, because of Atletico Madrid, really, because the competition I think is going to be steep this year. I really see Atletico Madrid competing. The final Champions League spot, I believe, is going to be between Sevilla and Valencia. In the case of Sevilla, I just really take a look at a team with Lopetegui that have strengthened very similarly to Atletico Madrid, but with players which, of course, are not at the same level, players which are a little bit unproven, and players that need to be just filled with good faith. I'm talking about people like Joan Jordan, which is very good for Eibar. You could bring it here for Sevilla. Let's see if he can work it out. You take a look at a player like Luke de Jong from all the way from PSV. Will he fit into Lopetegui? I think. Once again, I think. Ronnie Lopez recently brought in from Monaco, so they got good players here and there. Like Sevilla, they look good, and they will make a backup, like a jumpstart campaign, I believe, and I think it will be good enough for which team at 4th. Just because Valencia, I think Valencia were struggling last year. I think we all can say that, even though they finished in a Champions League place, but they need more. I feel that Valencia needed to strengthen a bit more to just really secure that position, because last year I thought their squad wasn't the best, and this year I still think it isn't good enough. They brought Mangala in, they brought Denis Cheryshev completely like out of buy. They brought Jason and Maxi Gomez. Maxi Gomez, of course, the best signing probably out of those 5, but still their squad looks a little bit weak. Not of course to get them relegated or anything, but I don't think it's gonna be good enough for get them Champions League. And well, the final team to make it to Europa League's place, I think it's going to be Atletico Bilbao. I think that Bilbao have an overall good squad and they understand what they play at, and that can take you a really, really long way. More importantly, I believe that Bilbao, like that, because they have a plan, are much better secured to be higher up in the table than other teams, like they can come afterwards. And here I kind of start making a deviation to the mid-table. And we have Real Sociedad, Real Betis, Celta de Vigo, Espanyol, Villarreal, Getafe, Levante, Deportivo Alavés, Eibar, and Osasuna. I think that against Real Sociedad, Real Betis, which I really want to talk about Real Betis in a bit, and Celta de Vigo, Atletico Bilbao have a better squad. Like the level between the bench and the starting are not that different. And I'm going to be using a comparison to Peru in a way, because when we play with Ricardo Gareca, it seems like our bench is worse, but actually every player understands where they at. And one, you can take a right winger out and you bring another one and they play exactly the same and fit the same system. And that's what I think Atletico Bilbao has. So I think that can take them a long way this season. And it's time for Atletico Bilbao to be better again, because they have not been doing too good of lately. In number 7, I got Real Sociedad. I think that Real Sociedad have made good signings, and I'm very excited to see Martin Odegaard, how he does. Martin Odegaard, fun fact. One of my flatmates was from Norway, and he was not like a friend, but like in the same year group as Martin Odegaard at school. Fun fact. So yeah, in the case of Real Sociedad, Martin Odegaard I think can really change it up. Porto bringing it from Girona, that's a very good signing. Retaining people like Mikel Oyarzabal is also very important, and having a backup in Alexander Isak can also prove to be decisive. All of these players perhaps may not be the real deal right now, but in later stages of this season they may turn up and they may give Real Sociedad something that they didn't have before, and that's the ability to just rotate. An ability, not rotate exactly by having one player in and one player out, but to have a competent squad. And similarly to Atletico Bilbao, they know what they play at, and they'll have to do that much. They knew it before, and by keeping Imanol Alguacil, which, if you didn't know, comes from Real Sociedad B, they already have that philosophy instated, and that's what I like, because promoting from the own club, that can give Real Sociedad what they wanted, which is balance. Because with balance, you can start building on. The best way for me to explain La Sociedad is kind of like a Bournemouth sort of deal in La Liga. They are in that situation where they got good young players, and they just gotta keep at it. You know, keep working. Do not have to overachieve. Do not have to underachieve. Do not have to think it's gonna be the worst season or it's gonna be the best. Just keep working at it, and I think that can reach them a long way. And I think that's why they're gonna finish 7th. In the case of Real Betis, I don't see them doing too good. I think that appointing Rubi is a little bit risky. I really do so. I think they should have kept with Quique Setién. And the reason why I'm putting here is because to have an ideology of playing possession-based football, you need to have faith. You need to be reliant on your players. You need to have faith on your manager. And by kicking out Quique Setién, which is a really handful of words there, I don't think... they don't feel me with that. They don't feel me that they still know how to approach it. I think they're kind of like aiming a little bit too over their heads, and they should be going for a style of football more like Sevilla, which is still a good playing style football with the ball and everything. But I don't see. And Fekir as well, buying Fekir, it's fine. It's a great signing. Like for what was it, 19 million euros? It was perfectly fine. A really, really good signing. But if he doesn't have the motivation to play, then nothing is going to give, and that can really take Real Betis down the pecking order. Lo Celso was incredibly important for them last season, and if Fekir comes here to replace him and he doesn't do the job because he's a Real Betis, and instead of going to a place where you could be seen, I don't know, like Roberto Firmino, Salah, you're getting Borja Iglesias, you know? So it all depends on that for me. If they have faith on the same style of football that they've been playing for the last year with Quique Setién, so be it, and keep playing that. But if not, then big trouble is going to be happening. There's not going to be consistency there. And all of the players that you have signed like to play that style of football. They do not know how to defend like a Cholo Simeone side. So if it doesn't work, I think they're going to be paying the price. I really do. 9th, 10, and 11 are all very similarly. I don't really want to go too deep into it. I like the signings that all of these clubs has made. I really do. I specifically really like Santi Mina and Denis Suarez to Celta Vigo. It does make a lot of sense. I like Ruben Peña to Villarreal. I really do. So all of these clubs, they have the potential to keep buying at those players, which are perhaps undervalued by the bigger clubs in La Liga, and they can start building bigger and better teams for the next upcoming seasons. Certainly, like I mentioned, Bilbao and Real Sociedad right now have a better stability and balance than these teams, so that's why they're higher up in the table this time around. But I don't think they have that kind of like explosiveness, that potential inside it to be continuing and battling for those positions. I think they're here because of the detriment of the other clubs, and Villarreal and especially Celta Vigo, Espanyol is kind of thereabouts. They always stay number 10th, like they always do, even though they finished 7th last season. They are clubs which have that potential. So if they keep doing a good season this year, next season they might make the next jump. They're right now looking like a Leicester City, Everton sort of deal, where they're getting those big players to try and bounce and kick at the heels of the top 6. But I think they're kind of like one season behind. So expect Villarreal and Celta Vigo for me to get better this year. Getafe is a team which I also wanted to focus on because they did an incredible year last time around. Getting, of course, to the Europa League is not easy feat, and they were literally one step away of getting to the Champions League, and that might be really horrible for Bordelas and co. Bordelas, I think this year, I don't know whether it was directly by him or the board behind him, or of course the fans that they're going to have, but I don't think they have strengthened appropriately, because I think the Europa League are going to crash them really, really hard, and that's why I have them at 12th. I really think that Getafe with the Europa League in mind is going to be really, really, really hard. And just imagine for them to get past to the knockout stages, it will be even worse. I think that Getafe is still going to try and do it, because the Europa League is something that doesn't come few and far between for their club. So they might be trying to give them the best shot in Europe, because they have to. It's the only shot that they probably get ever. So that's going to be a problem, but a good problem for them. But the bad problem comes then for them in La Liga. Defense, midfield, I think they're fine, especially when you take into account the way that they play, that they really like to just have 2 lines of 4, defend really tight. It's fine, but the attacking positions where I'm really seeing a lot of problems. They have the youngest forward is 30 years old, and then the oldest is 37, and all of the others are in between. So I don't know whether they're going to keep having the fitness to be playing all of those games on Thursday and then the weekends. It's going to be a real struggle. Real struggle. When you take into account Jorge Molina at 37, oh my god. And he's still going to be playing because he is good. Okay, but at 37, let's not kill yourself. You cannot have that same resilience of Thursday and then going back at it on the weekend. So Getafe, that's going to be the problem for them. I think scoring goals might really be what breaks them. And the Europa League, yeah, I think Getafe are going to really suffer because of that. Levante, Deportivo Alavés, and Eibar come next, and I don't really want to speak too much about them. There's not too much to it. I think they're all good squads, good solid additions. Deportivo Alavés, I like what they've done. Eibar, I also like what they've done with Mendilibar past these recent seasons. So I think they're going to be staying in a very similar position. Levante might be the only one for me to break and perhaps even go further than Getafe. I really like Paco Lopez. Paco Gemes is another guy. Oh my god. Paco Lopez and what he does. And they got a few individual players like Enis Bardi, Jose Campaña that really look interesting for me. Jose Luis Morales with Roger Martin up top. They look at something. Roger Martinez is the guy from Colombia. They look good. So if something's gotta give, Levante, they're like the mini Barcelona, you could say. So yeah, they're the only one I kind of like have faith of doing better. That's why they're 13th. But now, moving finally to the relegation battle, and I'm actually also going to keep at it with Osasuna here. I'm going to be starting at number 16th. I think that Osasuna is going to be staying up, and the only team out of the 2 others that just came up, because they have a good strategy. They have a good strategy of getting players that have previously played in La Liga, like Adrian Lopez and and Marc Cardona, players like that. But more importantly, because they give me the idea of building a solid team. They won La Liga 1, 2, 3 or La Segunda División by 8 points, which is a good feat, and they didn't sack their manager. And that's a very important thing. So they have unity in that, and that's what you need for staying up. And they have more unity. They have not a better squad, but a better understanding, I think, than Leganés as well, which comes later, and Real Valladolid. Leganés and Real Valladolid, for me, are going to be... I think one of those two are going to have a horrible season and they're going to be going down. Real Valladolid, every single year that they step up is a miracle. I think that the signings Valladolid has made is a very different kind of mentality to that of Osasuna and Leganés, which have reinforced with players from La Liga. Real Valladolid instead has tried and gone for the young prospects. They've tried and getting people like Sandro Ramirez, which is, okay, if not young, but you know what I mean. Kind of like those explosive players that can win you a game out of nothing, but we don't know whether they can do that on a consistent basis. Apart from that, their squad doesn't look too good. They doesn't look anything special. So that's why I think they're going to be going down, because it's a very, very difficult way to approach this La Liga. And it may be positive in the long run because they're going for these cheap buys here and there, these cheap loans, and using the money that they got from last year, probably in a better pitch, that they certainly need that, a better facilities, all of that, thinking that, okay, if we stay up, that's a very good thing, but if we didn't, then at least we just spend it on good facilities for our team so that the next time that we come up, if they come up, they of course have a much better footing and foundations to try and build themselves a good place in La Liga, in the main division. So it's okay, it's understandable that they're doing that, but I don't think it's gonna be good enough. And well, the final two teams, I got Granada, which is a weaker team in contrast to all of the others, and they are mainly here because of that reason. They have strengthened correctly, and they have kind of done a mix of what Real Valladolid and Osasuna have done, which is by young prospects, but also prospects that can play in the Spanish league. They have gone with Darwin Machís, Yangel Herrera, two Venezuelans, which are very good, look very promising in La Copa America, I'll tell you that. And they also got a lot of experience up front, like with Roberto Soldado. The problems for me are defensive-wise, not scoring goals. Their defenders, if I don't know them, which I know a lot of players, means they're kind of just basic defenders. And that for me is going to be the problem. Granada has always taken like 7 new B teams before. So I'm a little bit worried for them in that stage. But if those players manage to turn up and the defense doesn't manage to be as bad as I think it could be, then they come out an argument to keep staying up in La Liga. But right now, I think they're 19th. And finally, I got it with Mallorca. For Mallorca, I think it's simple. Their squad is very bad, and they got too many foreigners. They could have strengthened a lot better by getting those signings like Darwin Machís, like Yangel Herrera, which are cheap signings that have played already in Spain. But they bring people like from Serbia. They bring people from Russia. Players that haven't even played before in one of the top 5 European leagues. Even though it might be the second division, it's still a top European league. So I'm a little bit worried for that, because everything, the adaptation process, it can really take you a long way. And that for me is trouble. It really is for Mallorca. And Mallorca is a very nice place to holiday, but I don't think that for football, it might be the place to go right now next season. So to finish it off, my predictions for La Liga goes as follow. I think that the relegated teams are going to be Mallorca, then Granada, Real Valladolid. Then we go onwards to Leganés, Osasuna, Eibar, Deportivo Alavés, Levante, Getafe, Villarreal, Espanyol, Celta Vigo, Real Betis, Real Sociedad. And the top 6 are going to be Atletico Bilbao and Valencia going to Europa League. Number 4 or 4th position, Valencia. And then the 3rd, Real Madrid. And the 2nd, Atletico Madrid. And the 1st, Barcelona. So if you have enjoyed this video, guys, be sure to drop us a like and leave us a subscribe. This was also on another unscripted video, which sometimes can be a little bit troublesome for me because I forget words, because I don't speak English natively. So bear with me. That's perhaps there was so many in the video. But that's what happens. Some of you seems to enjoy it, some of you, I don't know, well, but it's kind of gonna be the format for this video, and this is gonna be the last for a while, because after that we have the preview of Atletico Bilbao, and then next up we get more football. Yeah, so I don't think we're gonna be seeing another unscripted video for a while, but hopefully you have enjoyed. See you in the next one. Take care. Ciao.